Okay, whatever you do, do not get your hair cut short unless you can handle these 5 things. I have been doing hair professionally since 1995, and let's just say that's a long time. And in that time, I have cut a lot of clients from all different lengths to short hair. And these 5 things, I have learned that if you are not ready to handle them, there's a very high possibility that you're gonna hate your hair short. And I can promise you, your friends won't tell you. Okay, before we dive into the video, I want to say a huge thank you to Lifen. They are the sponsor of this video, and we will talk a little bit more about them here in a little bit. Okay, the first thing you need to know and be able to handle before you go short is the fact that you're gonna be looking at a lot more maintenance when you cut your hair short. A lot of you are probably thinking, yeah, duh, of course it's gonna be more maintenance. But it may be more maintenance than you even think. So first of all, if you're used to having your hair longer, say, let's say collarbone length or maybe even longer than that, then you might be getting your hair trimmed maybe every 8 weeks, maybe 12, maybe even less often. And the thing is, once you go short, the probability is high that you're gonna be looking at closer to 6 to 8 weeks if you get a really well-shaped haircut. Now, this also is gonna factor in by length. So if you go shorter, let's say very tight, like a very short pixie, then it's likely going to be even more often, every 4 weeks. And if the shape isn't done right, then you could be looking at even a shorter period of time in between maintenance because it's not gonna grow out as well. So this is definitely something that you wanna talk to your stylist about prior to deciding to go short. Show them what you're thinking about, show them the length range that you're trying to move into, and then ask them honestly what that maintenance schedule is gonna look like, and then make sure that you're ready to handle that. The number 2 thing that you're gonna need to be able to handle is the fact that you're likely going to require some product to create the texture that really gives short hair their style. So here's the thing, if you've not been using product, or maybe you have been using some product, maybe like a gel or a mousse to try to create volume, but you haven't really moved the real look that you're going for. What a lot of people don't realize is that when you're taking your hair quite short, it's very reliant on texture and movement. Otherwise, it just kind of ends up looking like a helmet. And this is a big reason why I say that when you're going quite short, we really want to stay away from things like hairspray and move into things like texturizing creams, pomades, or kind of more of a, I don't want to say heavily oil-based, but more of kind of an oily-based product. This is going to give your hair more shine, but again, it's going to give it more of that texture, and that texture creates more of that movement. So if you're not ready to feel that kind of product in your hair, then you may find that you never want to use the product that creates the style that you want. Now you've got short hair, but it doesn't really look the way you wanted it to look, even though you're trying to style it the way that they told you to style it, but you just don't like it. Get ready for some product because it's probably in your future. I want to take a quick second to talk about the Lifen Swift. Now, if you've spent any time around my channel, probably for like the last year, then you know I'm a big fan of the Lifen Swift. It's actually the blow dryer I've been using on my own hair at home, and I've been doing it on purpose because I like it. Now, here's the thing. From a stylist perspective, there's a lot of reasons that I think this is a really, really high value and just well done blow dryer. The first thing is it is extremely powerful, but not in a bad way, in a really good way. So it still manages to be quiet while this motor is still spinning at 110,000 rounds per minute. All that means for you is simply that it's pushing that air out very quickly, which means that it's more efficient, which means that your hair is drying faster, which also means that it's less time for your hair to be under heat, which also means that it's less damage potential for your hair. Now, there are a lot of different things that I like about the Swift, but I think one of the biggest things for me, one of the biggest selling points is the value. And that's because by comparison to other dryers in its class, what I would compare it to, other dryers are $300, $400, $500. Hands down, it's built well, it works well, it's efficient, and it's priced way below what it probably should be priced at. That's just real talk between you and me. That's how it goes. So for me, as I said, I would definitely say if you have not tried a Lifen Swift, definitely do it. There is a link in the description that you can use if you want to learn more. Definitely do that. Not only does it support the channel, but more importantly, it's going to support you because you're going to be super stoked when you get that dryer and you realize that I wasn't lying to you. It's that good. Okay, the third thing you're going to want to make sure that you can handle before you go short is the fact that you're not pulling your hair back into a ponytail. Okay. I feel like that's like the most duh kind of comment I could possibly make, but follow me here because you might miss this. So if you're in a situation where currently you're working a lot with your head faced down, maybe you're looking at your desk writing a lot, maybe you're working out in the garden, Who knows, but if you're doing this a lot and hair is falling in your face and you find yourself pulling that back in a ponytail to get it out of your face, many times it's easy to think that once you go short, it's just not gonna be a problem. But this is all relevant to how short you go. If you decide that you wanna leave a little bit of extra length around the face or maybe on the sides, when you fall your hair forward, that's gonna fall into your face. And that could drive you absolutely insane. Now, with that said, it's very easy to put a couple bobby pins on the side of your head, pull your hair back that way, but it's just a different look. And some people just don't like the idea of putting bobby pins in their hair, or they just don't like that overall look. So you want to take into consideration that that is potentially going to be a thing. Now, the other way around this is to simply cut your hair short enough on the sides and on the front that even when you come forward, it stays out of your face. However, that then pushes you into a dramatically shorter overall feel. And that may be too short to feel comfortable with. So understanding that your hair is now going to be pinned back and not pulled back in a ponytail might seem like nothing until you have that to feel like something. So there's that. So just keep it in mind. Okay, now the fifth thing that we're gonna talk about is extremely important, and it's the thing that no one's gonna tell you about. Before we get to that, let's first talk about 4. And 4, the most important thing that you need to understand and be able to handle before you go short, is the fact that if you for some reason don't like it or decide to change, you're looking at a pretty severe grow out process. Again, seems obvious, but let me kind of put this in perspective for you that gives you a little bit better grasp on the situation. If you go quite short, then it's not just a matter of growing your hair out. It's a matter of growing it into different styles to get it back to where it was. I'm assuming, let's say that you've got hair roughly around the collarbone length and you decide to go into a shorter pixie look. Well, now to get it back, you're growing it back through a bob stage or bob shape to grow it into a longer shape. Now, you don't have to go into a bob shape, but if you don't go into a bob shape, then the likelihood is high that you're just gonna be growing out your hair and it'll never have a really good shape in between the time that it's short and the time that you get the length that you want. And that could be frustrating the entire process. To mitigate that, we typically tell people move into a bob shape because a bob shape grows out very well. There's not a big difference between a bob at this length and a bob at this length. They feel very similar, but there's a group of folks out there that just don't feel good in a bob. They don't like the overall shape, and for whatever reason, it's just not their style. So the likelihood is high that you could be sitting in that style or one that you like even less to get the length that you actually want to get your hair back to. And that could end up taking months. Now, I know that sounds kind of doomsday, if you will, and maybe that's kind of pushing you away from the idea of going short. And I don't want it to do that because I wouldn't use that as a deciding factor as to if my client was going to go short. I wouldn't let them use that as the only reason that they don't go short, but it is something that I want them to pay attention to. Don't let it make the decision for you, but do keep it in the back of your head. Okay, and number 5 on the list, and I believe that this is actually the by far most important one on this list. If you have the confidence to wear it. Okay, I feel like that could actually rub some people kind of the wrong way. So let me break down why I say this is so important. Confidence is absolutely key when you're making any change with your hair. And this doesn't just mean if you're going short. It's just in general, you need to have confidence with whatever shape that you're wearing. Because if you don't have confidence in the length or hairstyle that you're wearing, that length or hairstyle will wear you instead of you wearing it. You're not gonna feel good in it, so you're gonna wear it awkwardly. And then you're just never gonna feel good about the way that you look. And I think we all can recognize that the way we look, whether we want to admit it or not, is important. And our hair is a really big deal. Now, how do you know if you're gonna be confident going short? That's a tough one to answer. You can pull your hair back off your face and just see how do you feel about having your hair back away from your face. That'll give you some idea, but it really won't get you set up for what it's gonna feel like when you no longer have hair to run your hands through. Now, here's the biggest thing. I always tell people if you're gonna go really, really short, don't do it in a dramatic situation. So don't have some big life event and then color your hair off. It's kind of a recipe for disaster. You wanna make sure that you've been thinking about this for a while and you're like, I don't just like that style. I 100% know I can rock short hair. If you're on the fence and you're ready to take a risk and just understand that you might not love it, but that's not that big of a deal, then yeah, for sure, take the risk. I think it's extremely important that you recognize that regardless of what anybody else says, any of your friends, any of your family, or whoever, if you feel good about the way your haircut looks, if I tell you it doesn't look right, then you can tell me to just shut my face and go away. Because at the end of the day, if it makes you feel good, you can look in the mirror and you go, I'm rocking this and I feel amazing in it. And that's what you need to do, regardless of what anybody else will ever tell you. Because really that's what this is about on a larger scale. It's just about feeling good and being confident. I want to know what you think. So comment below and tell me if you've got something else that you noticed after you went went short that you wish you would have been told before you went short. And aside from that, again, I want to say a big thank you to Lifen for sponsoring this video. It is an incredible blow dryer. I've been using it forever, and I'm a huge fan, or I wouldn't be talking about it on the channel. So thank you to them. I appreciate you. Oh, and last things last, all the YouTuber stuff. But if you're actually liking the content, there is a subscribe button. It's right over there or there. There's a subscribe button below. Go ahead and click on that. It actually does support the channel, and yeah, I appreciate it. So do that, and I will see you next week. Take care.